All right, 12 minutes to the top of the hour here on the Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. I'm Mike Gill. Joining me now on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. We talk to him each week during the football season with the Injury Report, brought to you by Cape Regional Health System and Dr. Kevin McHale. The Cape Regional Health System, Penn Orthopedics, the best of both worlds for a healthier life. For an appointment, call 609-463-CAPE or visit caperegional.com/orthopedics. And a perfect time to bring the doc in as we've got a pretty interesting injury to kind of break down here. We were talking about it with John McMullen earlier, Doc, and got surgery on the herniated disc for Tim Jernigan, 4 to 6 months. This one sounds like a very painful, and anytime we're talking back, there's got to be a lot of concern.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate when you see someone have a back injury. Obviously, these can be pretty significant injuries and have a significant impact on ability to perform at the NFL level. So when you're talking about a herniated disc, a lot of times it's not quite as severe as a lot of the other spine injuries that we kind of think of. The disc itself has a little soft center with a slightly firmer border to the outside of it, which acts as a shock absorber in the spine. And what can happen is that little soft center can start to bulge out, and that's what herniates, and can start to press on surrounding nerves that are leaving the spine, leading to some pain that can shoot down the leg. So typically when they get this disc herniated surgery, it's called a microdiscectomy. It's actually fairly minimally invasive. They make a small incision in the back, go down there, and actually trim out that torn little piece of the herniated disc that's pressing on the nerve to relieve that pressure on the nerve and get rid of the pain. Typically, it's a same-day surgery. They go home and they can start doing activity fairly quickly. But as you'd imagine, you need at least several weeks for that surgery site to start to heal to prevent a re-herniation. And it takes a while to get back to a collision sport like football. So for Tim Jernigan, I think they've released around 4 to 6 months. It's definitely possible to get him back by the beginning of the season, but it depends on how much strength he's able to get back and how he's performing with his rehab.
The doctor who performed the surgery said he is hopeful to have Jernigan back for the team's opener in September. Now, if he had surgery already 4 to 6 months from now, to have major back surgery like that, can you anticipate seeing him being able to play in September?
Well, it's possible. So in general, you need at least 6 to 8 weeks of just letting it heal, not really doing too much at all to allow that area to heal in to try to prevent that site, the surgical site, from having another herniation. After that, they start ramping up the rehab, allowing them to do some training and strengthening, and then gradually getting back to sports-related activities. Usually for a collision sport, at least 3 months. You absolutely want to need at least 3 months of rehab. 4 months is doable. It's not always a definite, and unfortunately the Eagles are dealing with a lot of, these gray areas coming around the start of the season with some of the other players as well, as we know with Carson Wentz. But, I think it's a definite possible scenario to see him back at the beginning of the season if we're lucky.
Yeah, and Dr. Kevin McHale with us from Cape Regional is looking at this Tim Jernigan injury. The herniated disc in his back, is this something that, if you get the surgery done, is it a pretty good rate of recovery that he should be back there? Because the stipulation here that I saw was that the Eagles could have released him and not paid him because the injury was suffered during an off-season workout. But I guess they reworked his contract, and I guess the reworking of the deal is an indication that he might not be able to come back and play with this injury.
Yeah, so in general, if you take all NFL players that get herniated discs, there's about a three-quarters of them will return to play in the NFL. So obviously it has to do with the quality of the player and how good they are will factor in. So if you have some of these kind of bubble players to begin with a herniated disc, it's much less likely they're going to make it back on the field. But a 70% return to play rate is actually pretty good after a significant injury like this. So when you're talking about someone like Tim Jernigan, who's a very high-quality player, we would expect to see him back out there. And the one good piece of news is that, these studies show that actually as long as the player's back out on the field, they have similar performance as they did pre-injury after these surgeries. It's a lot of rehab to get them back out there, but if they do make it back out there, their performance seems to not suffer.
Well, that is the best part of it there with Dr. Kevin McHale, kind enough to jump on and give us a little update on Tim Jernigan. The injury report brought to you by Cape Regional Health System and Penn Orthopedics, the best of both worlds for a healthier life. For an appointment, call 609-463-CAPE or visit caperegional.com/orthopedics. Finally, some nice weather. The weekend warriors can get outside, so you should be busier.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Hopefully I'm not too busy for everyone else around here, but that's typically what we expect.
Well, hopefully you're enjoying this Sixers run, and we will be catching up again here shortly, pal. Thanks so much.
All right, no problem. Talk to you guys soon.
Okay.
Let's go Sixers.
Yeah, man. Dr. Kevin McHale here. Give us the update on Tim Jernigan. And as he said there, that the recovery probably pretty good. So we should anticipate. When I saw herniated